Giving adults and adolescents with autism spectrum disorder more opportunities through education. That's the goal of the Greengard Center for Autism in Portsmouth. Joining us live to talk more about that is Barbara Frankel, president of the center's board of directors. Barbara, thank you so much for being here. So tell us, yeah, we're so happy to have you. Tell us about the Greengard Center.
So I have a child who is now an adult with autism. He was diagnosed 26 years ago, and I knew then that there was a real need for specialized services because of the uniqueness of autism, and the way in which his needs and the needs of many others are complicated and require training and specialized kind of attention to make sure that they are able to be involved in the community as much as possible. So when he aged out from his services, we were kind of back to square one in terms of really needing something that was very much addressing his particular needs and the needs of what I knew many others were requiring. One of the parts of Greengard Center that's really important to me and those of us who are involved is that learning never ends. Right. So even though he's 21, I know that education has continued my whole life. I'm on the faculty at UNH, so that's really important. And so that's part of what we do, and make sure that every participant has opportunities for continuing to build skills as well as maintain the skills that they've already learned.
And how do they come to be at the center? Is it people come to you and they ask you if they can enroll their child, or how does that work?
So when individuals with autism age out of public school services at 21, then they enter into the adult world of area agencies that basically deal with developmental disabilities. And so either the area agency may approach us, or the family who knows that about what we're doing and what's important will approach us. And it's really a collaboration, a partnership with the area agency, the family, and the Greengard Center as a provider.
And tell us about, you just had an event on May 16th. What was that event, and what did you accomplish through that?
So we have built, part of what we do, as well as having a day program, is build partnerships with as much as we can of those organizations, people in the community, because again, community acceptance, inclusion, as fully as possible is what's important to us. So we approached the police department. There was a pretty terrible incident that happened in Florida last summer, and it really got me thinking about what my son might do in an emergency, that he would not really behave appropriately, and that the police could misunderstand. So we approached the police department. They were wildly enthusiastic. We've built a partnership with the department, and so we have done training, and then we have registration twice a year that families can come in and get registered so that they can be known to the police department, and we're going to expand that to other first responders.
Wonderful. Barbara, thank you so much for being here. I wish we had more time to talk to you, but great information and wonderful work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And if you'd like to see this interview again, it will be up on our website after the show.